On March 7, 2025, the White House hosted its first-ever crypto summit, marking a significant moment in U.S. digital asset policy under President Donald Trump. The event brought together prominent figures from the cryptocurrency industry, including Michael Saylor, CEO of MicroStrategy, Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, and Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, among others. This summit aimed to address key issues in the crypto sector, such as regulatory clarity, the establishment of a U.S. crypto reserve, and potential policy shifts that could reshape the industry's future. The cryptocurrency market has faced significant regulatory uncertainty in recent years, particularly under the Biden administration, where the Securities and Exchange Commission took a more aggressive stance against crypto firms. This environment led to concerns that the U.S. was stifling innovation and driving businesses offshore. President Trump's decision to host a crypto summit signals a more open stance on digital assets, potentially paving the way for a more crypto-friendly regulatory framework. The summit aimed to discuss the establishment of a U.S. strategic crypto reserve. President Trump has proposed including Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano in this reserve, although there has been industry opposition to including assets beyond Bitcoin. Michael Saylor has been a vocal advocate for focusing on Bitcoin due to its decentralized nature and lack of a central issuer. Listen to what Michael Saylor has to say about the crypto summit and the benefits of the U.S. having Bitcoin's strategic reserve.
Let's just get your view, because everybody's dying to know about the summit and what they think is going to be announced. How do you think this crypto reserve will be financed?
Well, I think that there's a 6-month process that's been laid out by the executive order, and I think the president was fairly deliberate in that. There are 12 members on the Presidential Working Committee. There'll be involvement from the industry, there'll be involvement from the Senate and from the House, and it's above my pay grade to decide how it gets determined. But the Lummis bill has laid out the idea of acquiring Bitcoin strategically over 4 years, just consistently day by day in order to reach a million Bitcoin target. The real key about Bitcoin is for people to understand that it's digital property. It's a savings account that empowers every single American to save their wealth and preserve it over time.
Before we delve into the video, if you want the latest crypto news, market updates, and expert insights from the top minds in the industry, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stay informed, stay ahead, and never miss an opportunity in this ever-changing world of the financial market. Thank you for subscribing to our channel.
Let's just get your view, because everybody's dying to know about the summit and what they think is going to be announced. How do you think this crypto reserve will be financed?
Well, I think that there's a 6-month process that's been laid out by the executive order, and I think the president was fairly deliberate in that. There are 12 members on the Presidential Working Committee. There'll be involvement from the industry, there'll be involvement from the Senate and from the House, and it's above my pay grade to decide how it gets determined. But the Lummis bill has laid out the idea of acquiring Bitcoin strategically over 4 years, just consistently day by day in order to reach a million Bitcoin target. The real key about Bitcoin is for people to understand that it's digital property. It's a savings account that empowers every single American to save their wealth and preserve it over time. And so what the government can do is to give clarity to the asset class and confidence to every American citizen so they know they have an alternative to gambling and the stock market. I think the way to think about the industry is there's digital commodities, that's Bitcoin, an asset without an issuer. There's digital currencies like the stable coins. That's really important for US dollar supremacy and digital commerce. There are digital securities like tokenized stocks and bonds that will actually provide a capital efficiency and globalization for American securities. And then there are digital tokens, assets with issuers that provide digital utility that are very interesting and compelling. Their role is capital creation for the small and mid-sized companies that are blocked from the capital markets right now. I think that it's wise to capitalize a country or a company on a commodity, an asset without an issuer, something like a property. You could buy oil. Bitcoin is a commodity. I think that those are tokens, and we should have a regulatory framework to allow them to be issued. I think the emerging consensus in the industry is that Bitcoin should be the element in a strategic reserve over the long term for the country. But if you wanted to support various investments in a sovereign wealth, the important thing to keep in mind is Bitcoin is the one universally agreed upon foundational asset in the entire crypto economy because it's the asset without an issuer, it's neutral. 99% of the energy and the capital has flown into that one. But I want to be clear that the U.S. has the opportunity to be the leader in digital assets if they have a progressive framework that supports currencies, securities, and tokens as well. The most important thing to understand is that we bought 75% of this nation with about $40 million. So the United States expanded west. We bought Louisiana, we bought California, we bought Texas, we bought Alaska. It's property. If you think of Bitcoin as property in cyberspace, and you say, where is all the money in the world headed? Well, it's headed from foreign countries, China, Russia. It wants to go to cyberspace. It wants to go from the physical world to the digital world. So if you think about Bitcoin as cyberspace, then the logic behind a Bitcoin strategic reserve is not so much you're storing up Bitcoin, it's really that you're taking control of planting the flag in cyberspace because the digital economy is going to be capitalized on Bitcoin. And if you get there first, before the AIs, before the foreigners, before the Europeans, the Africans, the South Americans, the Russians, and the Chinese, the U.S. can own it and benefit from it. Satoshi gave us a protocol for prosperity. That's what we call Bitcoin. And it was a great opportunity for empowerment for 8 billion people. But also, there are 400 million companies that need it. There's also every country on earth that needs it. So it's logical that a country that is interested in economic empowerment and prosperity is going to adopt Bitcoin in the same way that a company like mine, in the same way that an individual would.
Let's just say you're sitting there at the table at the summit on Friday, and President Trump says, hey, Michael, I know you're a bigwig in the industry. What's the number one thing I should and shouldn't do with this reserve? What would you say?
I would say the number one thing is lay down clarity amongst digital assets because there's a lot of conflict and confusion because people misdefine the terms currency, commodity, security, token. And then once you've laid out that framework, if you decide to buy cyberspace, buy it deliberately, progressively, transparently.
In conclusion, the White House Crypto Summit represents a significant step towards integrating cryptocurrencies into the U.S. financial landscape. The event's focus on regulatory clarity, a strategic crypto reserve, and tax reforms could pave the way for a more supportive environment for crypto innovation. However, challenges such as regulatory complexity and potential conflicts of interest must be addressed to ensure that any policy changes benefit both the industry and investors. As the crypto market continues to evolve, the outcomes of this summit will be closely watched by investors and industry leaders alike.